Shot like a home video, Costa shows up in front of Thomas Cub's house on his birthday and says, "This is Project X. Yo guys, what's up? Check this out." Costa walks into Thomas's place and starts filming everything that's about to go down at his birthday party. Behind the camera is Dax. He barely shows his face or says a word, but there's something strangely mysterious about him. Costa and Dax sneak into the bathroom and scare Thomas while he's taking a shower. Thomas Cub is a shy, quiet kid living a pretty ordinary life. His parents are getting ready to leave town for their anniversary trip, and before heading out, they put Thomas in charge. Mr. Cub gives his son and his friends the ground rules: no more than 5 people in the house. His mom looks a little worried about what could happen, but after some back and forth, they decide to trust him. She makes sure to remind Thomas to take care of the house and not let things get out of hand. But Costa, being the loudmouth, reckless teen he is, wants to turn Thomas's birthday into a legendary event, one that'll make everyone at school finally notice them. For his birthday, Thomas got a minivan from his parents. At first, Thomas isn't sold on the idea of throwing a party, but Costa convinces him this is the perfect shot at popularity, the kind of night people will never forget. When they get to school, they meet up with JB, another member of their crew. Confident and bold, Costa has big plans for the party. He wants to pack the house with as many people as possible, even kids from outside school, and swears it'll be unforgettable. JB, meanwhile, just goes with the flow, not that excited, but always loyal to his friends. Thomas finally gives in to Costa's ideas and agrees to 50 guests at his house. To Costa, that's the perfect opening to throw an epic party. He starts setting everything up in secret, blasting the word online and across social media, pretty much inviting the entire school. Thomas even mocks Costa while he's sitting on the toilet and dumps a trash bin over him. Later at school, Dax records a chat between Thomas and Kirby up in the bleachers. She's a childhood friend, and Thomas clearly feels something more for her. On his mission to make the party legendary, Costa keeps inviting people. Girls, and even more girls. Dax goes around filming interviews, but almost no one really knows who Thomas Cub is. Then Thomas asks out the hottest girl in school, Alexis, and it all gets caught on camera. But Costa isn't aiming for just another high school party. He wants it over the top. He rents lights, a DJ, drinks, and a ton of extras. The guys even invite Miles Teller, one of the school's most popular students, someone Thomas and his friends had only admired from afar. And he actually says yes. As Costa makes preparations, Thomas starts to get nervous, especially when he realizes how big this thing is getting. He's always been more low-key, and the thought of hundreds of strangers inside his house makes him anxious. Still, he can't fight Costa's excitement and finally gives in, deciding his birthday party is really happening, though the consequences worry him. Costa then drags the others to T-Rick's place, a crazy guy who sells all kinds of illegal stuff. Costa's idea was to buy something green, but instead, he grabs a gnome off T-Rick's shelf. As they're leaving, T-Rick storms out furious, chasing after the kids and even jumping onto the car, just when they think they've gotten away. T-Rick pops up again, scaring the hell out of them. They manage to get away and make it back home. Costa even hires some oddball security for the party, Everett and Tyler, the crazy guys holding a pair of nunchucks. Later, Costa and JB drop by the neighbors' houses to give them a heads up about the party and the noise it might cause, but somehow they manage to keep everyone calm about it. As night falls, they start setting everything up. Music, drinks, decorations, and of course the gnome is right there. When the party kicks off, Thomas expects just a few people to show. At first, only Kirby shows up, but within minutes, the house is flooding with teenagers from everywhere. Cars keep rolling in, the music gets louder, and the party explodes into something massive. The trio celebrates, mingling with the crowd, living it up, making history. Everyone's buzzing. The music, the booze, and a few other things drive the whole place insane. Even Thomas's dog gets caught up in the madness. Someone ties balloons to him, and the poor thing floats off. Thomas tries to stay calm, while Costa is hyped, thrilled that the party's turning into a smash hit. Soon the house is jam-packed, the pool is overrun, alcohol's flowing non-stop, and every limit is shattered. Costa's plan is working, the party's becoming legendary, but with that, problems no one expected start to surface. Guests start congratulating Thomas, but he's growing more and more uneasy about the chaos around him. Costa keeps pouring out drinks, and little by little, more and more crowds keep showing up. Then Miles Teller walks in, and his presence, along with other popular kids, only cranks up the pressure to keep the party going strong. The trio finds themselves pushed harder and harder to keep the madness alive. But things get out of hand, and what was supposed to stay in the backyard spills into Thomas's house. Thomas decides to shut it down, but when he climbs on the table to announce it, The crowd cheers him on, and he changes his mind. One neighbor finally loses his patience with the noise and storms over to Thomas's house, demanding they stop. But Costa and JB push back, while Rob the neighbor gets more and more irritated with Thomas and threatens to call the cops. Right then, one of the security guys shows up and tasers Rob, dropping him to the ground. Rob gets back up and swings, landing a punch on Everett, the security guard. But since he just hit a minor, Rob loses all credibility and gets booed until he backs off, giving up on calling the police. Costa praises Everett but tells him to ease up with the taser and keep an eye on the neighbor. Back at the party, things get even wilder. People are diving into the pool and some girls play along with the announcements, driving the guys crazy. The chaos keeps building. Kids are zip-lining straight into the water and Costa feels like a legend, bragging about the size of the party. Then Alexis, the hottest and most popular girl at school, starts giving Thomas attention. The tension builds between them, but he has to pull away to answer a call from his dad, who's worried after a flood of neighbor complaints about the insane party. Mr. Cobb doesn't believe a word of it. He still thinks his son's a loser, and Thomas manages to talk his way out. Meanwhile, Costa gets a call from Everett. Rob actually did call the cops, but Everett is hiding inside the guy's house. Costa freaks out. At the same time, Thomas sneaks off to his room with Kirby. They even share a few kisses, until Everett bursts in, warning everyone that the police are on the way. The backup plan: move all the guests to the backyard and cut the music. When the cops show up, everyone ducks down in silence. Thomas and Costa try to fool them, saying it's just a birthday gathering. The officers want to come inside, but Costa blocks them with some quick legal talk, and they leave after telling them to keep the music down. Right after, the duo heads to the backyard and declares the party's going till sunrise. The music kicks back in, the crowd goes wild, and what follows is both hilarious and shocking. People climbing trees, furniture smashed, Thomas's family's valuables trashed, and guests completely losing control. The pool turns into pure chaos with dozens diving in, while others dance on rooftops and even in the trees. Drinks spilling everywhere. Noise, madness, a total meltdown. Costa, instead of worrying, keeps egging people on. Every time something breaks, he laughs and says his cousin can fix it. Then the T-Rick gnome shatters, and what's inside stuns everyone. A stash of hallucinogens that makes the party spiral even harder. Meanwhile, Thomas starts realizing just how deep he's in, and he's floored when a guest says he came after seeing the party in the classifieds. Costa admits it was his idea. He blasted it on radio stations, spammed emails, and spread it everywhere. He hypes Thomas back up and even makes him pop one of T-Rick's pills. After that, Costa leads everyone in a birthday song for Thomas, and from there, things go completely off the rails. At one point, they even shove a little person into an oven after a fight breaks out. The trio is totally out of their minds from everything they've taken, and the party just gets crazier by the minute, dancing, making out, and a full-blown riot at one of the wildest parties ever. They're hitting it off with the girls, and the scenes just keep getting crazier, until the popular Alexis hooks up with Thomas, and Kirby catches them. The street outside Thomas's house turns into even bigger chaos. There's even some guy popping wheelies on his bike right on the sidewalk, while Kirby storms off to confront Thomas. Thomas is crushed that she saw it, but the worst is still to come. The trio climbs up onto the roof and finally sees the true scale of the party. The crowd chants Thomas's name, cheering him on for throwing it. Meanwhile, a news helicopter is broadcasting everything live, and Thomas throws a wild gesture up at them. Then, without hesitation, he jumps straight onto the inflatable house, making history in the process. But not long after, the cops roll in. Thomas's guests flood into the street, hurling bottles at the squad cars. The cruisers back off, retreating as the crowd roars. Everyone celebrates and the chaos rages on. Clips of the party start airing on TV stations everywhere, until Thomas's dad's car gets dumped right into the pool and the night spirals even further. The one who tossed it in? The little guy. And that's when Costa realizes there's no fixing this. Suddenly, the trio isn't laughing anymore. To make it worse, T-Rick shows up in the streets, with a flamethrower, hunting down his garden gnome that Thomas stole. He torches houses, trees, and cars as people scream and scatter. The police return with reinforcements, and even SWAT gets involved. T-Rick keeps burning everything in sight, nearly hitting Thomas. SWAT takes him down, and he goes up in flames. Explosions go off everywhere. Thomas's house catches fire, and the chaos only gets worse. Police move in, breaking up the crowd with flashbangs and tear gas. At one point, the neighbor Rob starts yelling at Costa about his burned tree, and the two bodyguards rush him. Cars spinning out, people running wild, and some maniac even steals a police horse. When the sun comes up, the trio sits in the bleachers at school while helicopters still circle above. Meanwhile, firefighters battle the blaze at Thomas's home, now a total wreck, a real disaster. Later, Thomas's dad stands with him by the pool. They talk, and Mr. Cub admits he never imagined his son could pull off a party like that. But he warns him the financial damage is massive. The next week, Thomas shows up at school in his trashed minivan, telling his friends he's under house arrest until the hearing, facing 6 different charges. On the way to class, Thomas and his buddies are recognized by everyone. The whole school congratulates him. Students chant his name, and the guys can't hide how thrilled they are. Thomas apologizes and finally makes peace with Kirby. And soon, TV shows everywhere start covering the story of the party. But in the end, Thomas lands in jail. Costa walks free thanks to his lawyer, though he has to take 3 different paternity tests. JB is labeled a special teen and also gets off. And Dax ends up investigated for his parents' disappearance. Still, Costa, true to himself, keeps bragging that they threw the most epic party of all time, no matter the legal or social fallout. So, what did you think of Project X? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Big hug to everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.